Okay. Lift me up with your muscle.
Hold on. Did you hear that someone named their kid
Viva Frei.
ABCDE, pronounced ABCDE? And as they boarded a plane on Southwest Airlines, the mother was complaining that the boarding agent was making fun of her daughter's name, ABCDE. Took a picture of her boarding pass and posted it online, which is wrong, and that's objectively wrong.
It was spelled ABCDE.
Correct. Do you think it's fair to name your child ABCDE? This video is taking over the video that I had planned for tomorrow. I'm sorry. You're getting 2 law vlogs in 1 week, people. Boom! Thank you. Please, go watch the movie. I saw this story on the Philip DeFranco show, and Philip DeFranco is the closest thing we get to real news these days. Parents named their kid ABCDE. How you doing?
Mommy, don't do that.
Pronounced ABCDE, and then are shocked when people take notice of the name in perhaps less than tactful methods. Oh gosh, turn this off. Volume off. Let's start by stating the obvious. You don't make fun of anybody's name regardless, no ifs, ands, ors, buts about it. Taking an interest in somebody's name, asking them the origins if it means anything, that's understandable. Taking a picture of it to post on social media shows a severe lack of discretion and actually is sort of reflective. There's too much going on here. Sorry, you just lost your position for the dog. And it's actually representative of a bit of the problem of social media. People think that if they find something interesting, the place to show it is social media, because if they find it interesting, the entire world is going to find it interesting, and they don't fully appreciate that that constitutes public mockery, which, if it's not a sin, it should be a sin. Regardless, you name your kid ABCDE and then get shocked and outraged when people are curious and intrigued and almost taken aback or shocked by the name. Let's just say that. Shocked that someone would name their kid ABCDE, pronounce it ABCDE, pronounce it Stephanie. It doesn't make the spelling and the visual impact of that name any less shocking. Problem is, it's fundamentally parents looking for creativity and originality and attention at the expense of their children. Regardless, you don't make fun of the child and you don't make fun of the name, but you know darn well by picking a name like that, you're setting your kid up for a life of those types of responses, for right or for wrong. I don't know if it's the actual origins of the expression walking around with a chip on your shoulder, except you're putting the chip on your kid's shoulder, but you do something that you know is going to provoke attention. You can't get outraged when it provokes attention. Regardless, it's an interesting situation because I'm looking at this, I said, how did the parents get away with naming their kid ABCDE, ABCDE?
I'm right here, Daddy.
You need a few more cats and a shotgun to make this visual complete. I was shocked and I said, how did the parents get away with naming their kid ABCDE? Because in Quebec, that name, in all likelihood, would have gotten rejected by what we have. It's called the Directeur de l'État Civil. Loose translation is going to be the Director of Civil Status. We have a governing body that approves or rejects a name of a child, a first name. And there's an actual law that says that you cannot name your kid something that is susceptible or likely to cause bullying, shocking, offensive, a swear word. You can't include numbers or symbols in a name. And I thought that this was a law that would be pretty much universal to all countries, but it turns out it's not. In fact, in Canada, only Saskatchewan and Quebec have governing bodies that can reject the first name of a child if they deem it to be inappropriate or likely to cause bullying. One example, the Directeur de l'État Civil in Quebec rejected the name spatula, or in French, spatule, because they said that would likely lead to a life of... We're having some meltdowns here and it's not clear why. Okay, I'll be up there. I'll give them a bath in 2 minutes. The Directeur de l'État Civil decided, probably rightly so, that naming a child spatula would lead to a life of mockery. Confusing names can be rejected in Quebec and Saskatchewan as well. If you name your baby, the directeur or the governing body can reject the name. So I thought this was law universally, and apparently it's not. Germany has a similar law. Apparently someone who wanted to name their kids WikiLeaks had the name rejected. Some other countries have some classic examples. I have to read them. New Zealand. Could you leave just for this one for a second? I can't say these words in front of you. Go, please. Just come back after I finish them. New Zealand has some great names that were rejected. V8, Lucifer, Anal, Mafia No Fear, Adolf Hitler, Satan, Fish and Chips for twins, Sex Fruit, Tallulah does the hula from Hawaii. I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. Sweden has a similar law. They banned the name Metallica. Superman, IKEA. Who would name their kid IKEA? They would be in for a lifetime of frustration. And this one I have to read because I can't remember it. The kid's name was BRF XXCCXXMNP CC CCLLL MMNPRXVLC MNCKSSQLBB11116, pronounced Albin. That is only 1 degree more extreme than naming your kid ABCDE and saying it's pronounced Abacacity. Denmark banned the name anus. And as an example, things you can't make up, Saskatchewan did not approve the name Dick, last name Assman. Or Assman, sorry. Assman is probably the correct pronunciation. Very interesting. You can't hear news like this and then not do a law vlog on it. For those of you who didn't know, first names can be rejected in certain countries and certain provinces. Saskatchewan, Quebec, Denmark, Sweden. And apparently first names can also be rejected even in the States, which is why I'm so surprised that ABCDE got approved. But according to Philip DeFranco, there are 356 people on Earth named ABCDE. Anyhow, that's your law vlog. Happy Friday. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, help me grow the channel. For every like I get on this video and for every newly acquired subscriber, people are that much more educated. Peace out. I don't know if it's the actual origins of the expression walking around with a chip on your shoulder, Sorry, short attention span, and I forgot to actually explain the origins of the expression walking around with a chip on your shoulder. Apparently it was created in the 19th century when people wanted to duel or duke it out. One person would put a chip on their shoulder and dare their adversary to knock it off, and when their adversary knocked it off, the duel was on. The idea being that you put something on your shoulder, asking someone to flick it off, and when they flick it off, you start a fight with them. When you name your kid Abacacity ABCDE, that is a metaphoric chip on one's shoulder, and you are just waiting for someone to notice that chip so that you can start a fight with them, hence walking around with a chip on your shoulder. And now you know. Da 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 da. Oh, I'm old. Walking around with a chip on your shoulder.